Hi, my name is Daniela Raynes. I'm here with Améo's brand ambassador and Black Diamond, McLean. Thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, Daniela.
When you are excited about building your business, that is the best place to naturally share something that you have fallen in love with and had results with others. We have a name for it here at Améo. It's Pique, Pass, and Plug. And so I'm going to ask Mike to tell us a little bit about what this system is and what it can do for you.
Absolutely. So Pique, Pass, and Plug is really that. It's just a system. You know, it's a system just like we were talking about a little while ago, Daniela. We talk about weight loss. Most people follow a system. In other parts of our life, we'll look at different things and we follow a system. You know, every day you wake up and believe it or not, you have a system that you go about your work, your day, whatever it might be, it's a system. Well, when we're looking at Améo and ZJ International, we're talking about not only a company that will provide consumers and customers, just like you and I, with excellent, world-class, scientifically validated products, but there's also a really, it's unfortunate, but a best-kept secret. And that secret is there's a business opportunity that exists inside of this. And to be able to maximize the opportunity of that business system, or that business opportunity, we need to simplify it by creating a system. And so that's really what Pique, Pass, and Plug is. It's a system.
Absolutely. And it's not a system to manipulate. I know that sometimes network marketing gets a bad rep, but this is just a natural way to share with others from a place of love. Okay, so before you Pique, Pass, and Plug, what should you do?
We really have to know, who are we going to talk to? Who are we going to talk to? I wouldn't go out and start a business, a brand new business, and invest literally hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in a business if I didn't know who I was going to talk to. And so there's a simple process, and yet it's probably the most overlooked in this business, but it becomes the foundation of our success. It really does. It's the foundation of our success. Well, what is that, Danielle? It's your list, right? Say it again.
The list.
It's the list. Now, guys, I don't mean to be corny and I don't mean to be trite, but it really is the list. If you haven't taken the time to sit down, whether it's in your office, whether it's in your kitchen, wherever it is that you can find a few minutes of quiet, but sit down and determine who are you going to put on your list.
I have one on my phone.
Well, listen, I love that because I hear people say it all the time. I have my list on my phone. I have my list on my computer. And I say, your contacts don't count. And the reason why is that when we sit down, we grab a pad, we grab a pen, and we sit down and we go through this exercise, it makes us think individually about each and every person that we put on that list. Well, I know Jane, and Jane has been a friend of mine. I haven't talked to her in a few years. I should really reach out to her and find out what's going on. Last time I saw her, she was maybe a little bit overweight, or maybe she wasn't doing all that great, or something else, right? Well, Steve was my roommate from college, and Bob and Tim and Joe and Sally and Sue, and you can remember why these people at some point in time were important in your life, and then you can jog your memory about other people that may or may not be interested in our products or our culture or the lifestyle or our community, all these different things, and you can get it down. Now, when the list is done, and then you should not stop, by the way, until you have a minimum of 100 people, a minimum. And I know
that's easy.
It is easy, but I will say this, people say to me all the time, well, Mike, I don't know 100 people. And I say, hogwash. We as a human race, each and every one of us interact with almost, over 100 people on a weekly basis. If we sit down and we think about, I live in this community, I went to this school, I go to this church, I do this, I do that, whatever, and you jog your memory, you can find those people that can go on your list. And then the other part is, when you're building your list, do not make the decision for that individual.
Pre-qualify.
Yes. Do not pre-qualify. And why do I say that? Let me share a little experience with you. So I was building my list, and for those of you who may know a little bit about my story, I went to MBA school. I got a master's degree in business. Well, people that have a master's degree in business, we build large retail companies. We build technology companies. We do things. We don't do network marketing companies. Heavens to Murgatroyd, we should ever do something like that. No way. So I'm sitting there listing, well, there's Mike, and there's Dave, and there's, Brent, and there's Ben, and there's Jason, and all these guys that were some of my best friends during school. And I was systematically eliminating them because I didn't think it was for them. Well, Mike's a vice president, Jason's a financial officer, Ben's a VP and founder of a bank, or so on and so forth. And all those things are true. But you know what? Mike's also 45 pounds overweight. And he might watch this video and, yeah, Mike, I'm talking about you. You know the one I'm talking about. It's time for you to get on Moringa. So should I take that opportunity away from him, or should I let him tell me no? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So number one, what do we do?
Make a list. So you have your list, and then the first thing we do is peak.
Peak. Well, peaking is, it really is, what is your authentic? Now, I want to repeat that. That word is very important. What is your authentic position when you go and you share, whether it's the product, whether it's the culture, whether it's the business opportunity? Who are you? Are you being authentic? Are you trying to be a John Raynes? He's the only one that I know that can rock the top knot, aka the Ginger Ninja. He's the only one I know that can do that. If I tried to duplicate that, it wouldn't come across as sincere or natural. And so really, peaking is all about you being sincere and authentic in your story, whether that's your weight loss story, whether that's you overcoming obstacles, whether that's you getting involved and engaged in a like-minded community of people that rally around and support you, which these are all things that we have. Or maybe for some, it was I needed to make money because my husband lost his job and we found a company that we could do that. It doesn't matter what your peak story is. In fact, it may change from time to time, but peaking really is the authentic version of your story. And so the second thing that I would recommend to everybody is, one, we do what?
Make our list.
Two, we take a few minutes and we figure out how to communicate our story in a short, concise 30, 60, 90 seconds without fire hosing, lots and lots of water and high pressure on, the information that we're putting out there, but simply communicating why we got involved, why we use the product, why this opportunity works for us, and then practice sharing that. That's it. That's a peak.
So after peaking comes passing.
Yeah.
Will you give us an example of passing?
Yeah, so passing, I know I sometimes expound or pontificate just a little bit, but we frame these things up for you because it's really simple, but sometimes we make it a bigger deal. I've been in the wellness industry, more specifically the essential oil space, for 16, 18 years, something like that, crazy amount of numbers. Well, I've also had experience. I've done lots of different things. I've traveled all over the world. But if you just got started with us today, do you think that you would be able to speak at the same level as somebody who's traveled in the Amazon, that's distilled, that's done all sorts of work at various capacities? Would you be able to do that?
No, I would be overwhelmed.
Okay, we would be overwhelmed. But sometimes human nature tells us that we need to be all things to all people. And if we can just slow down for 1 second and leverage the group, the network, the community that we have around us, and we pass our new people a tool, because more often than not, when we try to be the expert in anything, we actually end up shooting ourselves in the foot. So for example, I may be well versed in essential oils. I may know quite a bit about that, but you know what? The people that I have on my list, they don't know me as Mike, the guy that's traveled around and done all this great stuff with essential oils. They know me as the guy they did MBA school with. They know me as their brother. They know me as their uncle or whatever. They don't know me as that person. Well, just like me, you too are known to the majority of the people on your list as whatever it is that you interact with them. So let's say we're at the tennis club, okay? I'm just making this up. So let's say we're at the tennis club, and you and I have been tennis partners for a long time. You have no idea what I do once we leave the tennis club. And then one day I show up and I start, using oils in front of you. You're like, whoa, what's that? Well, there's a Pique. Well, how can I get some of that? Or where did you get that? Or whatever. You ask me those questions. So here's a prime example. I could jump right in and try to answer all these things with a few things that I know, or I could fire hose you because I've got all this information, but you know me as a guy that just plays tennis, right? So, or what could I do? I could say, you know what, those are great questions, and I don't necessarily have time to go into all of it right now, but if you can give me your email, or if I can text message you a link, could you watch this video? And then we can talk about it tomorrow or next week when we get back. You see how that was? I passed her a video, or I passed her a tool of something that is much simpler, much easier, and it takes the pressure off of me from having to be the expert, which she knows, or at least believes, that I'm not. So that's what a pass is. Simply pass somebody a tool, a video, a brochure, a PIP, product information page, anything that can convey or communicate information that puts the emphasis or expertise in the document and not in you. Because if you are the one that has to be the source of all information, then you're going to be single-threaded, and that's not truly duplicatable. Because remember, Jane's brand new. Jane just got started. Jane doesn't have 12 years of experience or whatever it is. So that's what a pass is.
That's interesting. So it's a responsibility on the person then to listen to the tape or CD or whatever, or watch the video or read the literature before we take the third step, which is plugging, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there is a step that person, a responsibility before we get to the next step.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reality is it never works out ideally.
Yeah,
there's
true.
no such thing. I want to make sure that we, set the proper expectation. There is no such thing as an ideal situation. In the ideal world, we build our list, we write our story, we pique people's interest, we pass them the tool, and then we plug them in to somebody else that helps to validate what we're doing or the information that we passed or shared to them. And the reality is it never really works that way, but we do our best. And that's where, guys, if we're being authentic, we're being original, we're being ourselves, you just do the best you can and follow along. And so a plug, if I had somebody from the tennis club, let's stick with the tennis club situation. I had somebody, I passed you a tool, you watched the tool because I followed up with you. Simple couple of questions. What did you like, in the video, or, did you learn anything? Is there anything of interest? Something that gets her talking about something positive that she experienced. We don't want someone's opinion. Think about this. I already know what I know. I know that she's brand new to it. So the key when we're plugging and we're following up, we don't want to ask for someone's opinion, because as human beings, they're kind of like elbows. Everybody's got one, but it doesn't necessarily mean we want them, right? And, throwing elbows or whatever, it's uncomfortable. It can hurt. It can be dangerous, frankly. And so we don't want that stuff. It's not that we don't care. It's just that she's just got exposed to this. We don't necessarily want your opinion. So I ask her the question, what did you like in that video, of Dr. Plant talking about confocal microscopy? Was that not interesting? See, I led her to tell me about something that she liked. That opens the door then for the plug, because what is it that you're gonna do the second that I ask you that question?
I'm gonna focus on what I liked.
There you go. And more often than not, you'll follow up with a question to me, right? I know that when I do this, I always follow up with a question because I want to know more. The video only covered just a little bit, and so I may want to know, well, how is your testing done? What was that thing he referenced, confocal microscopy? Or what about that Améo difference thing? Or, now all of a sudden, she's asking me a whole bunch of additional questions. Well, I want to know more. In that moment, we have an opportunity to fulfill our own egotistical needs and desires, or we have an opportunity to fulfill and maintain, or not maintain, but to serve our end goal, which is really to help her get started. And what I mean by that is, egotistically, I want to feel important. I want you to view me as the expert. But remember, she already knows me as the guy that plays tennis. She doesn't know me from any other space.
People just like to know that there's a third expert, the third party expert.
That's right. And so it literally opens a door for me then to call in my air support. Well, in this case, my air support is going to be John Raynes. I've worked with him. He's part of my organization. I know that he knows a lot about essential oils. I know that he can answer any of these questions that we're gonna, that she's gonna ask. And so the next thing I said, you know what, Daniela, those are great questions, and I don't know that I'm the right person to answer all of them. Hold on just 1 second. I know somebody that might be able to. So really quick, I call a TO, right? I've learned how to master the art of doing a 3-way call. I call up John Raynes and I say, hey John, I've got Daniela over here. You may know her. Her last name's Raynes too. I don't know if you guys are related, but I was wondering if you wouldn't mind, just taking 15 minutes and answering a couple of her questions and helping me get her to the next level. Would you do that?
Absolutely. I used Mike earlier today for a plug call, and last week I had a plug chat. So I had 2 opportunities on Facebook where someone got me online, and so we were chatting as a plug. And so it, just like you said, it's not going to follow the same formula every time, but I think that we have people as resources. John was asked on Saturday to do one, and she felt really bad about asking John, but she had set up a time and he was available, and so they did it. And so never feel bad to use other people as a resource, because we all benefit. So what are the rubber meets the road activities that we can do to get our business rolling?
Well, the first thing is just, what is your plan? A vision without any type of plan or strategy or action and execution and doing it consistently is really, I hate to say it, I don't mean to sound like a negative Nancy or a negative Ned or whatever it is, but the reality is it's just a pipe dream. It's never going to happen. And so we have our vision boards. I know I've seen a lot of them on the team, and we just recently wrapped up last week in cycle 4 of 96. We just wrapped up a challenge where we had people build their plans, or set their goals, and build their action plans. What are they going to be doing? So now the key is those action plans have to be executed consistently with laser focus. Well, what are some of those things? That's really what your question was, right? So in my case, number 1, I want to have that list built. We've got to have that list. If we do not have that list, nailed down and built, and we don't know who we're going to market to. So how can I set a goal and an action plan of doing 2 Pique calls a week if I don't have my list? So get that list done. I know I'm reiterating it, but you know what? That's it right there. 2 calls a day, or maybe it's 2 calls a week, depending on what your time is. Here's another activity. Well, what about a make and take party? Well, Mike, what's a make and take? Well, a make and take party is, we're in the experience business. We're in the health and wellness business. So if you're not doing something at least once or twice a week or a month at a minimum, then, at your place or, somewhere where you can get together and expose people to what it is that you're doing and our products, then we're probably not going to get to where we want to go. So how about a make and take party? Number 3, well, what about just a traditional good old introduction meeting where we invite a few friends over, we break bread, we maybe have a few treats, and then, you invite like an upline leader like a Brittany McGarry or McKenna Gordon or somebody like that, and they come over and they share and introduce to your guests, some
That's
of
a good idea.
You know what I'm saying?
Call McKenna.
So, she's phenomenal. I mean, she really is. I mean, that gal knows her stuff. And so, at the end of the day, the activities are endless. As creative as you want to be, and as creative and authentic, I said it again, authentic as you want to be and can be and should be, you can go as far as you want. For me personally, I'm making sure that I have my list. I'm making sure that I'm doing at least 2 Pique calls a week. I also make sure that I'm sending out at least 1 package of samples and information to somebody out of state, anywhere, every single week. Here's some funny little math. You want to hear some funny little math?
I love math.
So if we send out at least one package every single week, at least one, okay? What if you did two? Okay, start thinking about this. That's 52 weeks, that's 52 packages. Well, industry average says that we're gonna have about 30%, not 3, but 30% of those people that we Pique by sending them the samples, they'll end up joining our team and becoming customers or distributors or members of our organization. So if we do that, that's roughly 20 people, right? Now imagine if I did that and I sent out 2 a week. That's 60 people. Now what if I'm teaching them the same thing and we're duplicating and we're doing peak, pass, and plug, and now we get them doing the same thing? Really, it doesn't take that much. Many hands make light work. The key to this business is keeping it simple. But the real key to this business starts with you being creative and executing your plan consistently and with laser focus. With laser focus, consistency. Okay? That's really it. And be authentic and be yourself. There is no wrong or right answer. People ask me this question all the time. What should I do? What do you want to do? Expose people. There's no right or wrong. Don't wait for the magic bullet. Don't wait for, the perfect situation. Just get out there and do it. Be yourself and have a good time. When you're passionate and have fun, you know what? You're also like a magnet that is drawing attention and not be in a bad way, but you're drawing people to you because your energy is positive. And you know what? We thirst to be around positive people. Guys, at the end of the day, it really comes down being authentic, being yourself, and having excitement. If you are genuinely excited about what you have, and let me just tell you really quick what you have. You have access to the best nutritional products, essential oil products, and natural supplement products I have seen in an 18-year career, or whatever it's been, in the natural wellness industry. That's what you have knowledge of. You have access to some of the finest human beings I have ever met in my entire life in this leadership, team. We have access to a culture that uplifts, motivates, and inspires other people to become their best selves, the better selves, to achieve who it is that they want to become. You have that type of culture that is behind you, supporting you, and encouraging you. That's what you have access and knowledge to. And when you're excited about it, guys, I'm leaning forward on the edge of my seat. I've been doing this for the last 15, 16 months. I do it every single day, and I'm still as excited today as I was the very first day that I got out there. Why? Because I'm passionate about helping other people. And when you are too, peaking, passing, plugging, all of those things just kind of fall into place. Don't overcomplicate it. It's really simple. Do you have your list? Have you taken the time to do it? Have you got your story down in a 30, 60, and a 90-second story? Have you mastered that? Can you say it to the mirror, 100, or have you said it to the mirror 100 times so that when you happen to have that chance encounter with the person at Starbucks, or you Pique your best friend, who's been kind of watching what you're doing, have you got that down? Have you got it? Because when you do, I promise you, the other pieces will fall into place. Be authentic, be genuine, and get excited, because we can achieve together a vision of what Life Unlimited is all about.
You are in business for yourself, but not by yourself.
Well said.